Hey, yo, what up, YouTube? Just wanted to take a couple minutes and talk to you guys about Guild War defenses. Um, I haven't seen too many YouTube videos about Guild War defenses. I mean, I might have seen one or two, but I think they've kind of, got lost in, YouTube's history because of all the constant uploads and stuff. So I guess if you specifically search for that, you'll find it, but I haven't seen any pop up for a while, if at all. So I just wanted to give you guys some tips on building a good defense, because the good defense is really what wins your guild wars. Not sure what rank we are right now. Oh wow, we've moved up a lot actually. We were like rank 500 for a while, but we've pushed up to in the 200s. That's not bad, and I really think that has to do with successful defenses. So I'll show you mine real quick. This will load up. Alright, so here I am over here. Rast still running his marathon. Okay, there we go. So yeah, our last Guild War, you can see they focused me pretty heavily. This top team with Crimson Armin and Charles was on the bottom originally. And I had some mediocre defense up top, I think, because it was like Luna, Violet, Lidica. And I just wanted that elemental coverage. And I guess it beat this Gaza John dude right here, but everyone else was able to beat it. And that's just because, like, my Luna is not that great geared right now. My destruction set is really bad, and I just wanted somewhere to put it, so I put it on her. She does enough damage to clear all the PvE content with it, but she does not hit very hard in PvP. Like, if I were to look at her stats real quick, like she's just not where I'd like her to be, especially with how heavily I've invested into her. She's just kind of gimp right now. I mean, she's using this neck, which is terrible for her. Like, this just rolled all effectiveness. This helm rolled pretty well, so that's not bad. And I just used this. I didn't see the point in maxing it out. I might eventually. I mean, it's a decent piece, but I'm afraid what that next roll is going to be, and then it could roll something I don't even need. But she gets the job done with this gear, but she doesn't do nearly enough in PvP. So I head back over there. First thing you really want to do is, like, with defense, like, you have to realize that you can always be countered. There's no perfect defense. There's units that make it very hard to be countered, like ML Bale, Araminta, but she's not too bad. ML Bell makes it really hard unless you have specific units. Like, you need a Clurry that's faster than him, or an Assassin Coley, and I'm just speaking in terms of Guild War right now, not Arena. So, going back to, like, my strategy here, they're kind of stall comps and kind of not. Like, my first team, I'm not going to give you the specific speed on my Crimson Armin, because I don't want anyone to have an advantage when they're attacking me, but let's just say she's pretty fast. My Crimson Armin is pretty fast. So this team, like, obviously most people are going to attack my round one and think they're just going to outspeed me and probably nuke down my W Shuri, but my Watcher Shuri is way tankier than your average Watcher Shuri, and nobody expects that. And my Charles hits like a train. So that's why people attack this team and expect it to be pretty slow, and they highly underestimate my gear. Plus, my Crimson Armin has a max Arius and max S2, and cooldown reduction on her S3. So it's really hard to burst down one of those units, and they do a ton of damage. And even if someone managed to beat that team, I can pretty much guarantee I'm going to take out one or two of their units before they do it. This bottom team is new. I wasn't using it before. I built Fighter Maya just for Guild Wars. I could show you her. I'm not too worried about getting outsped on her, but I'm still working on her. And then I obviously have Idol's Cheer on Angie, just to try kind of boost up the Violet. Here's my Violet. He's pretty good. I need to continue leveling up his Dream Blade. I can get a couple more levels on that, but my Violet is pretty tanky. That's just kind of how I have him built. Like, this weapon rolled really nice. And then my Maya, I'm still working on. She just has this random ass necklace, which isn't terrible. I mean, it's decent for her. I need to get her Last Awakening, and I need to level up her Hillags. I'm also considering using Forest Totem on her, just in case, like, if they do manage to kill my other 2 units, she'll be very hard to kill with a maxed out Forest Totem, and constantly healing and constantly dispelling defense breaks and all that. So that's one thing she's really good for, and she's good for her imprint too. I have her with Angelica. My Angelica is also double S. So there's 20, well, pretty much 20 effective resistance right there that I just get for free on my Violet, which helps a lot. I need to level up my Idol's Cheer some more. I never use it, like, I just don't have really a place for it. But oh yeah, back to building like a Guild War defense. Like, what you need elemental coverage. Mono element teams can be very good, like with Kayron and Hazel and something else. But I wouldn't recommend doing a mono team, because if you come up against somebody like me and you run a mono water team, I have so many good earth units, like my Charles, my Euphine, and my Violet. And it's like, it's really easy for me to just come in and stomp a mono element team. The only thing I'm really lacking on is fire. Like, my only good fire unit is Lidica. And I do have Soul as well, who is a freaking beast. Like, look how high his CP is, and I haven't even 6-starred him yet. Like, he's gonna be a monster when I'm done with him. But I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna waste my resources. Blaze Dingo, I had high hopes for. But I ended up taking all his gear and giving it to Soul, because Soul is funner to use. ML units are obviously really good because they don't have that weakness. But some are easy to bait. So like Assassin Coley, like any single target, or actually even AoEs, because usually they have a single target main attack, or S1. It's easy to bait them with like Crimson Armin, General Purgus, Fighter Maya. Like, all these units are great baiters. And then, you know, you have Shadow Rose. I have one down here I don't really use, but Shadow Rose can bait out light units as well on defense. So, and same with Assassin Coley, she gets baited on defense, but there's ways you can work around that. So, like, an example of another defense I want to use is, like, I want to swap out my Violet for Assassin Coley. And I was thinking about using her with General Purg and a healer with Idol, but General Purg's kind of, like, he's good for the combat readiness boost, but it's double stacks attack buff. She gets a free attack buff. So, I try not to waste buffs. That's why I won't run 2 immunity units together. It's not bad, but I just feel like it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word right now, but it's not, shit. Optimal? Not really optimal, because it can be optimal, but efficient. It's not efficient. I guess I'll use that word. Because you're wasting your buffs, you know? So, like, I have ran Angelica and Crimson Armin on the same team before, but you waste that immunity buff. So that's why I have them on separate teams. Same thing with attack buffs, you know, barriers, all that stuff. I wouldn't recommend double stacking those unless you have some broken combo you can use. But one good way for setting up like your elements is run 2 and 1. So, like, say have your strongest DPS be an ice unit, right? And then make your other 2 the element that it's strong against. So have 2 fire units. So that way, to counter your strongest DPS, they bring, you know, earth units, which are countered by your 2 fire units. That's a good way to set up your teams. And you could do that around the entire elemental, you know, color wheel. So you would do 1 fire and then 2 earth, you know, something like that. I prefer using a stall team, but you can also run like a speed instant kill comp. thing with that is like they can bait your units. It's not always good to run a speed comp on defense. It's not like it's too easy to counter. And like when I run into people in Guild Wars, it's like, yeah, they have these awesome units, but you can just counter it. So what you want to build is something that's hard to counter, i.e., you know, evasion buffs, taunts, or provokes, crowd control. Crowd control is very important. Like Cecilia, she's a beast on defense if you have her geared really well. Same thing with General Purgus. I'm not really going to go through free-to-play stuff because, you know, not everybody has every unit, and I get that. But I'm just, for my roster as an example, like, I have tons of stuff in here. But basically, you want to make it to, like, approach it to, like, okay, how would I beat this defense? And looking at, going back over here, like, looking at my defenses, like, with my roster, I don't think I could beat my second team. I don't have a really geared stripper for Crimson Armin, and like, just looking at it myself, I don't think I can beat my second team. It's too strong. I guess it's my first team now, and I'll tell you why I did that. If you go through my battle history, like, and people, like, you look at your battle history before whoever you're attacking, you're gonna look at their battle history before you attack them, right? So when people look at this and they see all those green shields, they're going to think that that's my second team down there. But since I just swapped the teams, it's actually my first team. So it's going to catch people off guard. And that's really the best way to win in Arena, is catching people off guard. If you have a super fast unit that's normally not super fast, people are not going to expect that. Like, every time I attack into a Shadow Rose, I expect it to be like 230 speed, you know? And it's like, I've ran into some that were 150. And I was just like, what the heck? And, you know, I built a team comp to counter what I think it was, and it wasn't even that. I still won, but it's just catching people off guard. And that's the best way to do it. Like, people don't expect Watcher Shuri to be really tanky, but mine has 12k HP, and not everyone expects that. I mean, he still crits 30k, but he also has 12k HP. And people just don't expect that. Like, he can, and especially with the damage reduction I get from Crimson Armin, like, there's really no easy way to counter this team. Not with, like, running 3 DPS. If you run 3 DPS, it's probably not going to get through that, unless they all outspeed my Crimson Armin. With just a combat readiness booster and 2 DPS, I still don't think that, like, I would die. Because say you use Luna and like maybe like a Watcher Shuri with Oxlots. I mean, Oxlots can pretty much counter everything with a good DPS. So I mean, there's that one catch-all. But like this team, like, I can auto Araminta teams. It just destroys them. And especially with Charles on counter, he just eats through everything. Kind of rambling on a little bit. I don't want this to go on too long. But so yeah, this is pretty much try to make it to where you're as hard to counter as possible. If you're hard to counter, then, like, obviously you'll win more. You got to create some kind of RNG in your defense, because people can always counter you. Like, not everyone will have the units to counter you all the time, but somebody will, and you will never win 100%. So it's just best to make you as hard to counter as possible. That's by using different elements and etc., etc. I might do another video covering offenses, but we'll see. If you guys have any cool ideas for defenses and stuff, drop them in the comments. I'd like to look at them. I love theory crafting, and that's one thing that it's one thing I don't like about this game is I can't move my gear around as much as I would like to. And I can't, you know, theory craft as much as I like, because it costs too much gold to move stuff around. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. If I missed anything or I was not clear on anything, just, you know, don't be afraid to ask. Just drop in the comments, and I'll get back to you. I can't be getting that many comments right now, so yeah. I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a good one.